Emergency Action Plan Meeting.
Good morning. We're here for our safety briefing to make sure that everybody knows their roles and responsibilities should we have any type of accident, whether it's minor or major here at the event. I want to go around and point out everyone who they are and what their roles are. Starting in this direction, this is John. He's our technical delegate. He's our official that we'll be working with. We've got Scott, who's our course builder. He knows the course and will help us with any issues out on the course. We've got Gretchen, she's our chief fence judge. And we have Stan, who works with our course builder as well. He will help us facilitate movement of any emergency vehicles or the vet vehicles if we need to. We have Lieutenant Rogers and Fire Medic Olson with Medic 1 that are here. They're our advanced life support that will support us in any medical emergency. We also have Cindy, who's the organizer, and we have the cross-country controller here, Alyssa. I'm Rusty Lowe, I'm the safety coordinator for the event. So today will be our cross country, and so we have to be on our toes and watch what's going on throughout the day. The cross country controller, who will be in the tower on the cross country course, will dictate what we all do. The volunteer fence judges will be calling in as the horses go around the track and jump the jumps, or fences as we call them. And the volunteers will be calling into the controller that the horse cleared the jump or there's been a problem. Either the rider has fallen off or the horse and the rider have fallen. At that point in time, the controller will initiate an emergency response, whether it's medical, vets, or just the course builders need to get out there and fix the jump. So nobody moves until the cross-country controller orders the move. They'll say medical to jump number 14. If you have any trouble navigating out to jump number 14, Stan's here to help you and we'll get you out there. When you arrive on the scene safety is important. The horses have the right of way. So sometimes there's a delay because the controller will need to stop the next horse that's coming if the course is blocked, and you don't want to get out there in front of a horse because they do have the right of way and they will take the right of way. So be careful around the horse. And when we arrive at the jump where there's been a fall, be very careful, make sure the horse has been secured by someone. And if the horse and the rider both are down, be very careful, because if the horse has just been knocked out for a short period of time and wakes up, he's not going to be very happy, and there are going to be hooves and tails going everywhere. So if we can separate the rider from the horse, we need to do that as soon as possible. The rider will be concerned about their horse and less concerned about themselves. So up front, I will apologize to you because they won't be really happy and they're going to be worried about their horse more so than themselves. But we can help talk to the rider and let them accept your treatment. If it is strictly a veterinary issue, please stay there on the scene because something still can go wrong. People can get hurt after the fact, so we want to stay there and we may need to assist the vets. So once the response is initiated, EMS begins care. And a lot of times the rider's just popped off, they're okay. They're wearing a good secure helmet, a foam vest, and some optionally have an air vest. And that air vest is designed to deploy when they leave the saddle. Once the situation is handled, whether the rider gets transported to the hospital or goes back to the barn, the technical delegate is there on the scene. He'll make sure that the course is ready to resume. He'll notify the controller that the course is clear and they'll start the horses back. So we want to make sure we're back in service. If there's any doubt that you guys aren't ready to get back into action, we will hold the course until you tell us, okay, we're ready to go. If we do have a transport off site, the local EMS unit will meet y'all at the gate and the patient will be transported off to the hospital, unless it's a load and go situation where y'all need to load up and go as soon as possible. And in that point, we'll put the show on hold till we get proper medical coverage back on the property. The landing zone has been designated out in the far pasture, which we'll take y'all out there as soon as the meeting's over and show you where it is, where everyone's familiar with it if the patient needs to be transported. In a veterinary situation, if the horse needs to be transported, we have a horse ambulance on site. We also have a horse transport on site. The difference in the two is the ambulance will take an injured horse that has a definite injury that either needs to go to the vet clinic or back to the barn urgently for veterinary care. The horse transport is for a tired horse or a horse that's been pulled up on course, or if maybe the rider's injured and the horse looks a little stressed, we'll just transport it back to the barn. Otherwise, the horses and riders do walk back to the barn after their ride. Some of these riders do ride multiple horses, so if they've had a fall and they appear to be okay, we like them to have a good evaluation to make sure they're not concussed. It's very important for these riders, and they really want to get back in the saddle as soon as they can. But we also want to be mindful of concussion and not let them get into a bad situation where they may injure themselves or injure their horse in another ride. We have course maps that we're going to give out. Each division is different. If you'll notice, the higher divisions, the course is longer, the jumps are higher. In the lower division, everything just gets smaller and shorter as it goes down. We'll let you know in between each division which division we're swapping to, and we'll also have Stan on standby to get you out to the course the shortest way. Some parts of the course cannot be accessed by the ambulance, so we'll have a gator on standby for you to put your gear in and where you can get out to the course, and we may even have to transport the patient on a backboard on the gator to a safer part of the course where the ambulance can pick up the patient. EMS personnel will typically have a cardiac monitor defibrillator or AED with them at their location when they are providing coverage. Serious weather. Looks like we have great weather today, but I'll be monitoring the weather, and if we get any severe weather, if we have lightning within 10 miles, we'll suspend the course and wait till a half an hour after the last clap of thunder, and then we'll talk about resuming the course. I'll get with the course officials and work on that, but it doesn't look like that's going to be a problem today. Just want to remind you that the horses do have the right of way. The cross-country controller, she's the dispatcher, she's the boss. She controls what we all do on the course. She sees and hears things that we don't know what's going on the opposite end of the course. As far as media, you know how social media works. So we ask to have no conversation with anyone on the property about any accident that's occurred. There's a plan in place how information is released to the public and to the media when we've had an incident, and we have a process, and that all goes through the organizer, and she'll be the spokesman if we have anything to go. Again, no lights and siren where we don't spook the horses until you leave the property if you have to. Any major incident we need to know about, we have plans in place to handle that through the officials. The vets will be right there working together with us, and if there's a response, we'll all be there together. We do have reports that have to be done, so anytime you treat somebody, please make sure that I know and make sure we make the proper notifications and do the proper reporting.
Best practice is that an automated external defibrillator, AED, should be readily accessible in a visibly marked location and portable. The location of the AED should be shared during the EAP.
If we have any just odd situations, you know, a suspicious person on site or anything that just doesn't look ordinary, please notify someone. You can notify me and I'll have someone check it out, which we hope won't happen, but we have to be prepared for anything like that. If we do get into a serious situation where we don't need to talk about it on the radio, we can switch to cell phones. We do have a list that we'll give of everybody's cell phone, and we'll try and keep as much off the air as we can, because people have learned now if they get close to someone with a walkie-talkie, they can hear everything that's going on. So we're trying to avoid that as much as possible. You guys will be busy, and so, but just everyone else just watching out for these guys and make sure people don't interfere. We've asked that if anyone's a medical professional here and they come across an incident, that EMS does have a protocol that deals with that, and they need to properly identify themselves and ask if help is needed, and if not, please be respectful of EMS and get out of the way. Okay, does anyone have any questions?
Sure, I think you covered most of it. How many EMTs or paramedics will we have?
We have 2 paramedics on site with the transport unit, and then the local EMS is on call for anyone that needs to be transported off site that's not a real emergency that they might have to leave with in a hurry or by helicopter.
Perfect. How far away is the hospital that they would transport
That's
to?
how close is the local hospital.
Closest local hospital to here is probably about 45-minute drive.
Okay, and the trauma center would be Harborview, correct?
Harborview, yep, the trauma center there. Level 1 trauma center will be about an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
You already talked about the situation if we need a transport by helicopter. They have the location?
That's correct.
Okay. Do we have screens available for all the competition sites?
The course builders on course do have the screens. We have screens in the arena here and also near the dressage.
As far as the horse transport, are there going to be glides for the trailer, or how are they going to move the horse?
There'll be glides in the ambulance, the horse ambulance, and a spare set in the horse transport.
If the patient has to go to a hospital, do we have someone as a liaison to go to the hospital if the patient's alone?
Cindy has an assistant that's prepared to do that. She actually works at the hospital and can help coordinate things.
And Cindy, you would make any public statements then for the show?
Yes, as the organizer, I would make any public statements.
Okay, I think that covers everything I have.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions?
What channels are we using on the walkie-talkie, and what are the different channels?
That's a very good question. Channel 1 is the fence judges and actually the cross country. And channel 3 is vet and medical that are pertinent to us. Channel 2 can be a talk around if the officials need to have conversation. They can switch off to the talk around channel and have conversation. But channels 1, 2, and 3 are our main channels today. All right, thank you very much, and let's have a safe day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.